If you keep ghosting your own goals, your workouts, your routines, your plans, this video is probably going to hit hard. You're not just inconsistent, you literally disappear from your own systems. Your goals start feeling emotionally heavy. Small setbacks, like really minor setbacks, become identity crashes. You're like, oh my God, what's going on? You literally stop replying to people, messages, emails, whatnot, and you avoid routines because they remind you that you stopped. And your shame builds silently. And also the longer you disappear, the harder it feels to return. And eventually you start believing maybe I'm just broken. You don't disappear all at once. It starts small. It starts with a skip day, a delayed task, you avoiding messages, you sleeping weird. This is my personal favorite. This happens to me all the time. Sleeping weird, like sleeping at odd times, sleeping late, sometimes not sleeping at all, sometimes waking up in the middle of the night, all of this. And then overstimulation, too much dopamine, too much fucking dopamine. And even emotional exhaustion. And all of this shit put together, what does it do to your momentum, your flow, your streak? Your momentum starts quietly leaking. You start associating goals with pain. Goals stop feeling ex- they stop feeling exciting, and progress creates a lot of fucking pressure. Your expectations of yourself, they keep on increasing. Then fear of failure returns, and fear of relapse returns. Like, what if I lose control again? And success starts feeling unsafe. I'll talk about it in the personal story, but this happened to me kind of, this fear of relapse and everything. The pressure happened when I hit my goals in the gym. I'll talk about that in the personal story section. I'll talk about that, yeah. Shame makes you hide longer. One missed day becomes 2 weeks. Like, I've done it too. Avoiding people who believed in you and disappearing because you feel embarrassed. And all this isolation is creating emotional spirals. And you're left feeling like two different people. Like, I was doing so well, what happened? If this is hitting you, like and subscribe so this actually reaches the people who need it. Remember, I told you about that personal story I'll tell you about when my fear of relapse almost returned or kind of returned. So, this was, I think, sometime in August of 2025. I was following a routine. I had a good routine. I was going to the gym 5 days a week, every week, ever since I joined the gym in January. So it's been almost 7 months. I've been going really consistently. And then I had a big goal. My goal was to lift 200 kilograms at least one time for a deadlift. because 200 kilograms was the weight of the motorcycle which fell on top of me and sandwiched me on the road 12 years ago when I had a horrific motorcycle accident. And I just wanted a personal win. Like, okay, I lifted the same shit that almost killed me, the weight. And after I got that, I think on August 4th or 11th, I think 11th. After that, I started disappearing because in my mind, I was like, okay, I strain my back a lot. I need to rest. My central nervous system needs rest. And I was telling myself that I needed rest. Of course, maybe a week, maximum 2 weeks, but the rest would have been really good. Uh, but no, I. It's been over 9 months since I stepped foot in a gym. Ever since that till today, today is Saturday, the 23rd of May, 2026. It's over 9 months now. And like I said earlier, a skip day or one skip day turns into 2 weeks. So I thought I'll take 2 weeks off to rest and recover. But what happened was I still haven't gotten back into the gym because it started with one day and then I was like, oh man, I'm feeling embarrassed to go now. I'm feeling too embarrassed. So like I said, the emotional spiral, right? And honestly, making these videos, when I make these videos, when I do the research for the content to talk about, I'm learning more about myself and more about my disorder and more about my high and low states when they happen, and I'm able to recognize and identify them. So I didn't even realize this happened until I started making this video. And when I was talking about it, I'm like, oh shit, man, this shit happened to me. I'm like, holy fuck, right? And what happened was it was really confusing because I was feeling embarrassed. First, I had a fear of relapse. Why? Because I was over the top. I was on top of the moon, on top of the world. I was like, wow, I lifted 200 kilograms for one repetition. And I thought, okay, I need a break. I deserve a break. I started binging. I started eating pizzas and biryani and all that shit. And all of that happened. And then I thought, okay, I'll take a week. Okay, that one week. Then I thought, let's make it 2 weeks because it's your back. If you injure your back, it's going to hurt you your whole life. And I never went back because I was embarrassed. I was like, I started avoiding the people. The people at the gym, they believed in me. They were all rooting for me. They were like, hey, you can do it. You can do it. You can lift 200 kilograms. Because I told it to everybody. I'm the kind of guy who tells his goals to everybody. So everybody was rooting for me. They were supporting me. They were as happy as I was when I lifted the 200 kilograms. And the crazy part is all of this, all of this happened, and I disappeared. I literally disappeared for a long time, and I didn't realize that I was in a low state or a depressive state. I didn't realize it. I thought it wouldn't come back to me because in my mind I had beaten it. That's what I thought. Even though I was on medication, it still came. And that is because of the lack of sleep. I told you about sleeping weird. I was losing sleep. I was waking up in the middle of the night. And recently, in Feb of this year, 2026, when I did a sleep study, I figured out that I have an apopnea hypopnea index AHI, which is disturbances index of 103 per hour every night, which means basically my brain was waking up 103 times every hour every night. And that really fucked me up because that's what gave me the low state, which made me disappear for a long time, became kind of introverted. I still don't understand. I'm able to process it now. I wasn't able to process it back then because I was in the state, the low state. And then it became kind of like a high state, or maybe it was a high state while I was in that lifting phase. And when I lifted that uh, 200 kilograms, I felt I was on top of the world. And then I was talking about it on social media, on my stories on Instagram, and I was like, holy fuck, man, like this is so good. I love this. And I had that fear deep down inside, like, am I really allowed to be this happy, or is this a symptom of the manic phase, me becoming an over the top extrovert again? So I was really scared. So I had that fear that the relapse would happen, that the relapse would come back, or I would get a relapse. I was like, holy fuck, this is some crazy shit. And then I thought, okay, let me give some time, let me give a week, let me give 2 weeks of rest. And those 2 weeks became 9 plus months, and I still haven't gotten back to the gym. And life happened, and I moved to this house where I'm recording this video. This is a different, it's a town in the same state, but about 240 kilometers away from my mom's house where I was staying until now. And I believe that all of these things happened in a sequence that I needed for them to happen, so that I could understand now that now I have good sleep. Now I have a BiPAP machine which gives me good sleep, and I'm getting back into the routine. And honestly, my uncle, my mom's elder brother, he passed away last Saturday. And because of that, again, I feel like I went into a low state. For the whole week, I didn't do anything. After the funeral, I said I'll get right back to work, but I didn't. I just came and I started lying down in the room, which is just behind the camera. And I was just lying down watching TV series. I don't know what happened. So I was almost disappearing again. But I remembered that even on my bad days, I have a bad day system to do a minimum action. And my minimum action was try to follow as many alarms in the schedule as possible and eat 3 meals a day and drink at least 3 to 4 liters of water a day. So I've been following these things, and because of that, I am feeling better. And honestly, I didn't think I'll record this video today. I thought, okay, let me take this break and start on Monday because there's another prayer meeting for my uncle tomorrow on Sunday, and that's what I thought I'll do. But I decided to myself, I was like, no, 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 dude. Minimum action, you got to do it. And even if it's messy, even if you mess up, I think I messed up a few words when I was talking about it in this video, but I don't give a shit because that's my minimum action to show up even imperfectly. And because of that, I am getting this done, and the video is almost done. And this personal story, and besides, I learned that part of me after the gym session, that was a low state which made me disappear, and I don't want that to happen again, which is why I am definitely going to follow my minimum action daily from now onward. I'm pretty sure even you can do it as well. You keep restarting as a new person. Man, you're constantly reinventing yourself. Like, oh, this is the new me, this is the new me, this is the new me, new year, new me, all of that stuff. And you're deleting routines and rebuilding them. Trust me, been there, done that. You are trying extreme motivation resets. Oh, I used to do that a lot. I don't do that anymore because that's too intense. And yeah, I'll talk about that in a bit. Then you're expecting permanent perfection. I used to be kind of that way, but then somewhere down the line, with experience and with time, I realized no, dude, perfection is a myth. You can strive to be perfect, but you can never be perfect. And then you are getting emotionally burnt out from intensity. So, this is where I learned that it's consistency over intensity, right? And the thing I want to end with is this part about you keep restarting as a new person is that you never build stable systems, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm building a stable system. I'm building a high performance life with bipolar disorder. And I want this system to last for my lifetime. This is what I hope it will be. And I know it will be because I'm sticking to it, like I told you in the personal story. Here is a shift for you. You're not weak because you disappear. You disappear because your nervous system overloads and shuts down. Here are some micro actions that you can take to fix this shit. First, you got to start with noticing your disappearing signals. What do I mean by this? Your sleep changes, your avoidance, your isolation, and your emotional numbness. When you've noticed all these kind of factors, the second step is you got to stop focusing on restarting perfectly. Instead, focus on returning quickly, which means just show up imperfectly. You don't have to be perfect every single time you resume or restart. And the last thing that you need to do for as a minimum action is micro action is you got to build minimum viable routines. And these are like tiny routines you can still do even on bad days. I use the word minimum action. So minimum viable routine, minimum action, potato, yada yada, the same thing. What I do as a minimum viable routine is I need to try to follow as many of my alarms as possible because that's the way I follow a routine with my alarms. And I drink at least 3 to 4 liters of water a day. And the last but most important thing is I need to eat 3 meals a day. That's my minimum viable routine. So I got to do these things even if I feel bad. Like, for example, this week I told you my uncle passed away and I was feeling kind of low. And I really didn't want to make this video today. Today is a Saturday, today is the 23rd of May. But I thought, hey, listen, I got to do it. So this is actually more going above and beyond my minimum viable routine because I have given myself a promise that I would create 3 videos a week for at least a year. Uh, but because of my uncle's passing, I wasn't able to because I was doing the rituals and all of that stuff, the funeral and everything. And of course, my bad days. So I didn't create 3 videos. So at least I want to create 1 video. That's why I'm creating this video. And yeah, I believe you can absolutely do these things to fix your disappearing act. And remember, you're not the only person fighting this invisible cycle. And you're not broken because your brain struggles with stability. Thank you so much for watching.